Are you planning to study in Canada in 2025? Brace yourself, the rules have changed, and not in your favor. From permit rejections to skyrocketing financial requirements, thousands of students are being left out in the cold. Why is Canada suddenly shutting its doors to international learners, especially Indian students? What do these new caps, quotas, and immigration shifts really mean for your future? In this video, we break it all down, no fluff, just facts. Stick around to find out if your Canadian dream is still alive, or if it's time to reconsider your plans. Hello and welcome to Travel Tree, your go-to source for updates on relocation, travel, and international opportunities. Are you considering relocating to Canada in 2025? Or are you already living there and seeking updates? You're in the right place. Canada has recently halted approvals for new international study permits, with Indian students facing the most severe effects. A steep 31% decline in approved permits in the first quarter of 2025 is not accidental. This shift lines up with a broader policy reform under the leadership of Prime Minister Mark Carney. These reforms include tougher financial eligibility, stricter documentation standards, and province-specific quotas. The once welcoming approach seen during the Trudeau administration has now come to an end. If you're aiming to study in Canada, it's critical to grasp how these new rules might affect your plans. Stick around till the end of the video to get complete insights. Be sure to like, subscribe to Travel Tree, and tap the notification bell so you never miss important updates. Permit declines raise alarms. The new policies have significantly impacted Canada's education sector that caters to foreign students. According to recent data from Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, only 30,640 study permits were issued to Indian students between January and March 2025. That number is a major drop from 44,295 issued during the same months in 2024, a decrease of 31%. Indian nationals, who previously led in Canadian student visa approvals, are now seeing diminished chances. This is not a random shift, it's a direct outcome of deliberate policy changes. For many years, Indian students formed the backbone of Canada's international student presence. In 2023, they held over 278,000 study permits out of 681,155 issued globally. That figure declined sharply to 188,465 in 2024, and it's continuing to fall fast. Nationwide impact. This isn't just about one country. Students from around the world are feeling the effects. IRCC reports a 21% overall drop in study permits issued across Canada during Q1 2025, with 96,500 approvals, down from 121,070 in the same quarter last year. It's clear that Canada is intentionally scaling down its international student intake. The government views this move as a long-term correction rather than a short-term fix. Officials cite increasing strain on public systems like housing, healthcare, and urban infrastructure as major motivators. The Carney-led administration is working to balance growth, and international students are directly impacted in the process. Population control through visa limits. The driving force behind this policy shift is the Canadian government's decision to regulate the number of temporary residents. Starting in mid-2025, Canada will cap its total temporary resident population at 5% of the national population by 2027. With roughly 40 million people living in Canada, that places the limit at around 2 million temporary residents, which includes foreign students, temporary workers, asylum seekers, and refugees. Prime Minister Carney argues that this step is essential to restore equilibrium, especially in response to overburdened hospitals, congested public transit, and intensifying housing shortages in major cities. As a result, study permits and all temporary visa streams are now under heightened scrutiny and gradual reduction. Study permit limits and provincial quotas. In 2025, Canada set a national limit of 437,000 study permits, which is a cut from the 485,000 allowed in 2024, representing a 10% decrease. Government officials have stated that this isn't just a temporary measure. This cap is likely to remain or possibly drop even further in the future. Additionally, permit allocation is now province-specific, giving individual provinces authority to manage and limit their intake of international students. This shift has already led to slower application processing times and has complicated the approval process, creating uncertainty for many prospective students. Higher financial thresholds for students. From January 1, 2024, international students are now required to show double the financial support they previously needed, from $10,000 to $20,635. The IRCC claims this adjustment ensures that students can sustain themselves while studying in Canada. Critics, however, say it disproportionately affects applicants from lower-income backgrounds, particularly from India, Nigeria, and the Philippines, which have historically been major contributors to Canada's student body. With living costs surging, especially in Toronto and Vancouver, families from middle or modest income brackets are finding it increasingly difficult to meet the new standards. As a result, many are now looking to other study destinations like Germany, Australia, and Ireland, where educational costs are more manageable or subsidized. Tackling fake colleges and fraud. In response to a growing number of fraudulent colleges and deceptive agents issuing fake acceptance letters, IRCC introduced a digital verification process in December 2023. Now, every designated learning institution, DLI, must electronically confirm acceptance letters before a study permit can be processed. This move is intended to weed out illegitimate documents and unregistered recruiters. However, it also introduces more red tape, lengthening application timelines and increasing the likelihood of rejections, especially from applicants targeting lesser-known schools. Students are now strongly advised to apply only to verified institutions and to work exclusively with certified immigration consultants to boost their chances of approval. Infrastructure pressures and public backlash. Canada's infrastructure is under immense pressure due to the surge in temporary residents. According to a 2024 report by Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, vacancy rates in student hubs are now under 2%, while rents have jumped by 10 to 15% annually. Local governments, especially in Toronto, Montreal, and Calgary, have voiced concern that international student growth is driving up housing costs and stretching city resources, from medical clinics to transit networks. While the previous international education model functioned well under lower enrollment, the addition of over 800,000 temporary residents each year has overwhelmed it. In reaction, the federal government is reducing student intake, tightening eligibility, and delegating oversight to provinces and post-secondary institutions. Economic impacts on Canadian universities. With these new restrictions in place, post-secondary institutions in Canada are facing serious financial risk. International students often pay 3 to 5 times more than local students, making their tuition a vital revenue source. The estimated financial impact could be around $4 billion in lost tuition fees in 2025 alone. Smaller colleges, especially those located in rural or suburban areas, are now vulnerable to staff layoffs, program cancellations, or even closures. Several institutions have started to lobby the federal government for support or exceptions, warning that declining enrollment could lead to cuts in research budgets, staff reductions, and a drop in student-driven economic activity on campus. Recommendations for aspiring international students. If you're still determined to study in Canada, you can absolutely achieve it, but a smart approach is now essential. Here are 5 practical tips to increase your success. 1. Plan in advance. Begin early. Research study programs and carefully review what your province of choice requires. 2. Prepare financially. Make sure you can prove you have enough funds to sustain yourself while studying in Canada. 3. Choose well-known institutions. Apply to established, reputable schools. Always verify their DLI status to avoid problems. 4. Use certified consultants. Partner only with licensed immigration professionals who can navigate the system legally and effectively. 5. Explore alternative options. Look into other avenues like student exchange programs or dual-degree partnerships that may have different entry paths. Final thoughts: a changing landscape. In summary, Canada's new student immigration policy isn't designed to end opportunities, it's intended to regulate temporary migration and ease pressure on national infrastructure. The 31% drop in Indian student permits illustrates a major shift towards sustainability in sectors like housing, healthcare, and transportation. As Prime Minister Carney's administration introduces a 5% limit on temporary residents, prospective students must be well prepared, truthful, and financially stable to gain entry. Yes, opportunities are still available, but the path to them is narrower. The door is open, but not for everyone. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to Travel Tree, like the content, and share it with anyone interested in Canadian immigration news. Stay connected with us for timely updates on Canada's evolving immigration landscape. What are your thoughts on the delays and restrictions in Canada's study permit system? Drop your opinions in the comments section. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe Travel Tree, and we'll see you in the next update.